What's going on, guys? It's your boy Abel here with All Things Sports, and today's topic for discussion is something I've had a lot of discussion with a lot of my gym friends and basketball buddies, and that is, what brand of basketball do you prefer? Do you prefer the 80s, 90s version, young Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan is prime type of basketball where hand checking was legal, the game is a lot more physical, and defenses were allowed to impose themselves more on the offensive players, versus today's new era of basketball where it's a lot more finesse, you're called for a foul for pretty much sneezing on an offensive player, and you can kind of win with small lineups. You saw that with Golden State using a 6'8" Draymond Green and three-point shooting as the basis for their offense as well as their defense, and that's something you really would never have seen in the 80s and the 90s because physically the brand of basketball back then was so much more dominant. You could impose yourself on the other team so much so that that type of basketball just wouldn't fly. And honestly, I prefer the 90s version of it. I prefer the Michael Jordan era of hand checking. I like the fact that you could physically impose yourself more in individual defenses were more physical, and going to the hole had a price to be paid. It really showed the mental makeup and the mental fortitude of a player to not only be skillful, but to display that skill when you're necessarily uncomfortable, when you understand that you can be hit going to the hole. You see Michael Jordan drive to the basket with a hand over his eyes, and he doesn't care. Tongues out, going up for the layup, going to try to dunk it home, going to make an example out of you. I think it really brought out the competitive spirit of basketball, and it's something where in today's NBA you really just don't see it, and it kind of disappoints me because I feel like it limits the competitive spirit of the game, and I feel like this brand of basketball just isn't as exciting. It doesn't make me, compared to when I was younger, jump out of my seat and just go, wow. It shows a lot more technical skill from a shooting standpoint because the three-point shot and jump shooting in general has skyrocketed from the early 90s, early 2000s to now, but I just feel like in terms of the brand of basketball itself, it's just diminished. I enjoy watching good defense. I can appreciate that. And I can appreciate guys that can get hit going to the hole or just make an example out of. Defenses could target specific players, and you saw that with the bad boy Pistons targeting Michael Jordan when he was coming up trying to win his first championships. And you can appreciate a guy that gets knocked down, that after a play gets shoved a little bit and just doesn't care, just puts his head up and just says, this is fine, I can take this, I'm going to keep coming at you. You have more of an appreciation for their game because mentally they might even be stronger than their physical capabilities. I mean, Michael Jordan has recorded the highest vertical leap of any player, I'm pretty sure, when they measured it, and I think his mental makeup was stronger than his physical makeup. The fact that he'll not only kill you on a basketball court, but he'll be chirping you up. He'll be talking to you the whole time. I mean, Bill Laimbeer cheap shots Michael Jordan, and you can get up, you can go right back at him. You could really display what it means to you in terms of, like, do you really want to win? Is this really what you want to do? In today's NBA, you see a lot of flopping. I feel like the brand of basketball has diminished to the point where you see a guy go to the hole, or you see a guy playing defense on the perimeter, and you just see the head jerk up. You see a guy go up for a one-handed layup, and out of nowhere their head will snap and they'll fall to the ground and they'll hold their face when they haven't even been touched, where fingertips are grazing across their face. And it's like either one of two things is happening. Either A, you are this mentally weak, you've been this coddled that you can't deal with this brand of basketball, or B, you just outright wouldn't survive in the 90s. I mean, it's so annoying that guys can try to fake calls to the degree that they're doing it. Flopping is so out of control in the NBA that it brings the quality of the game down. I have less of an appreciation for this brand of basketball than I did in the 90s, when competing was the only thing that people cared about. You had to be really mentally strong to play in the 90s back then with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. I take that brand. I mean, some people appreciate this, and I know there's probably going to be a discussion about LeBron flopping because it's so out of control sometimes when you see a player with this much talent beg for a call sometimes the way he does. And I understand it's about winning, but I guess the competitor in me just hates seeing stuff like that. It's not soccer. So that's just my opinion. I want to know what you guys think. Please share your comments down below. Zap with All Things Sports, and I'll see you guys later.